Hey guys, Dusty here. Today I'm going to be breaking down my running form, talking about some of the things that I've noticed after many years of running, and some of the things that I like to focus on when it comes to running form. But before I get into all of this, I just want to say that everyone is different. Everyone has a different running form. More often than not, it's just frankly wrong to try to emulate or copy someone else's running form. We all have different foot strikes, different cadences, different arm carries. Some runners might have one leg that's a little bit shorter, or their back might not be straight, and all of that put together makes a unique running form. So oftentimes it's better to take what feels natural to you, your natural running form, and from there make little tweaks and adjustments instead of totally trying to change how you look as a runner. So with that being said, let's get right into my running form. I've always been very mindful of my running form and posture. And we'll get started at the bottom, my foot strike. I'm definitely more of a heel striker. I do try to heel strike more right under my body or slightly out in front. What you really want to avoid when it comes to heel striking is overstriding or landing way out in front with your leg totally straight. When you start overstriding with your foot way out in front, that's going to send a lot greater force up into your body, and it's going to slow you down as it acts as a braking force. So I'm getting a lot better at avoiding overstriding, but it's still something that I have to be mindful of, especially in the later stages of a race when my form might start to be falling apart a little bit, or say at the end of a long training run when I'm just getting bored or my mind's kind of wandering away. I just have to be mindful that I'm not overstriding. And there is one specific drill that I love doing that I notice an immediate effect, and it helps me bring my foot strike more directly under my body, and oftentimes I can even change from a heel strike to more of a midfoot strike immediately after doing this drill. And this drill is known as a pawing drill, or the horse paw. So I'll put some footage up on the screen of me doing this drill. If you're familiar with the ABC drill, this is the B drill, but it's standing B. And for those of you that have a bad overstriding heel strike, this is an awesome drill to start incorporating into your running. And while we're on the subject of foot strike, of a couple of things that I've noticed about my actual shoes. So if I look on the bottom of any pair of my running shoes, I'll notice a lot greater wear on the heel on the left shoe. And it's always been this way. I have certain imbalances that make me heel strike more so on my left side. And this is magnified even more when I develop tight glute issues on the left side. But it's just something I have to be mindful of more so in my recovery process. So when it comes to foam rolling and massage work, I have to focus more so on my left side to ensure that that side is happy. And then I find my foot strike is more even with my right side. And then another thing I've noticed about my shoes, not only in my running shoes, but shoes that I just walk in, is that my right leg sometimes crosses over and hits my left shoe. So if you see here, this is basically what's happening. My right shoe comes and crosses over and hits my left shoe in this spot in the upper, and quite a few of my shoes show wear in this specific spot. And I don't think physically this has caused any real issues. It's just something I noticed and probably has to do with some of the imbalances that I have. All right, moving up from the feet and legs, let's talk about my upper body. And there's a few things that I like to focus on and things that I've noticed when it comes to upper body running form. One of the things I like to focus on is having a slight forward lean. I've noticed that when I get lazy or at the end of a race, I have a tendency to sit more back in my running form. And when that happens, I have a tendency to start overstriding or landing with my heel too far out in front. So this is something I always try to be mindful of, and lately I've been trying to be more mindful of this during easy runs. Just having that slight forward lean, still standing up nice and tall, but just with that lean to ensure that my foot strike isn't landing way out in front. And then when it comes to the upper body, of course, being relaxed is key. So just as an example, I did a half marathon almost a year ago now, and on the last half of that race, there was a crazy headwind that we all had to run into. And to be fair, I was probably running a little bit outside of where my current fitness was, maybe a bit too fast. And when you combine that with the headwind, I just had terrible running form for the last half of that race. My breathing was totally out of control. I was probably making way too tight of fists with my hands. My shoulders were forward. I was probably leaning too far back. And after that race, my ribs or intercostal muscles were so sore. My traps were sore. My arms were sore. And that shouldn't be the case. Usually I run with a very relaxed upper body. When I start to feel my shoulders creeping up or tension in my arms, even during a race or training, I'll actually shake out my arms. It's something you might see runners do every so often. That's just kind of a mental cue to myself to, hey, calm down, Dusty, just relax a little bit. And one thing I will mention that helps having proper run form for the upper body is oftentimes I'll do strength and conditioning. I typically will do kettlebells 2 to 3 times a week. And when I'm consistently doing that week after week, it makes holding proper run form at faster paces much, much easier. And another huge key about holding proper run form at fast paces, I do this all the time myself, and I coach quite a few other athletes, and I always write this into their training program. So if we're doing something like fast 400-meter repeats at the track, I'll always write in, do them as fast as good form allows. So everyone can probably shave off a few seconds every interval if you let your form get really ugly. But to be honest, that's when injuries happen. And especially in training, I have no desire to see how fast I can go with an ugly run form. And this is a very good habit to get into. And hopefully it transfers over onto race day and you have what for you is beautiful run form, makes race pace feel smooth and efficient. So to kind of wrap it up here, when it comes to me and my running form, I guess there's quite a few things that I focus on. First of all, lately I've been trying to have more of a forward lean just to avoid heel striking or overstriding way out in front. Lately I've really had to focus on foam rolling my left side and especially my glute just to get my left side to land more evenly with my right. And then as far as upper body goes, I'm always mindful of trying to be calm and relaxed and efficient. And a couple of cues or drills would be for the upper body, shake out your arms if you feel tension, make sure your shoulders aren't rising, have loose hands, not super floppy hands, but not tight fists either. When it comes to your arm carry, everyone's different again, but try not to cross the center line. And then I love horse paw drill or bee drill, and oftentimes I'll notice an immediate difference in my running form and stride doing it after a warm-up before a track session. So anyways, I hope you liked that. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these types of videos. Something I'd like to get into is breaking down other people's running form. So let me know down below if that's something you'd be interested in seeing. And if you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe for more everything running. And I'll see you in the next video.